Weilà raga, come state ragazzi? Spero tutto bene. Benvenuti in una nuova lezione della serie Zero to Hero Italian Grammar Series. So welcome everybody. Welcome back to another lesson in our Zero to Hero Italian Grammar Series where we're looking at Italian grammar from the most basic and working our way up to the most advanced topics. So we've been having a lot of fun with all parts of Italian grammar. I've been thoroughly enjoying this whole series. I hope the same has been for you guys. We just did a video on ci, and now I'd like to talk about meglio versus migliore. This is something that I actually just taught today in one of my live group lessons. If you'd ever like to join one of those, I've got a link down below in the description. You can feel free to join my free mailing list to find out what lessons I'm teaching each week. I'd be happy to work with you guys in diretta, live. So let's just go straight on over to the digital whiteboard and let's talk about this topic. So we've got meglio versus migliore. All right. And this was such a great lesson for me to prepare for my students. You guys are obviously all of my students as well. You guys are my YouTube students. And it was so good because it's such a finer point of Italian grammar, in my opinion. I was talking to one of my students who was like, yeah, it's not really a finer point for me. It's quite basic. Everyone views things a little differently. For me, I view this as finer because it's like, it's so small that sometimes you can overlook it. It can be a little confusing, but once you get it right, it tastes so sweet. So let's talk about this. From a grammatical standpoint, meglio is an adverb. So if you don't know what an adverb is, because often I say those words can sometimes get in the way, because it's like, okay, meglio is from another language. Adverb is a grammatical term that I've heard of but don't remember. So therefore, I'm still at a place of not understanding. That's how I often felt when I was going through my language classes. It's like the teacher would throw out me the term, and I'm like, okay, but could you define also the term on top of defining the word? So that's what we're going to do today. So what is an adverb? So an adverb modifies a verb. You could also say it describes the way in which, and I know that was a lousy why, the way in which a verb is done. So let me just show you a quick example of an adverb for a moment, if you will allow me that time. We could say, for example, you speak slowly. Slowly is an adverb. Many adverbs end in ly in English. In Italian, they usually end in mente. For example, tu parli lentamente. This mente usually corresponds with the li in English. So tu parli lentamente, you speak slowly. So what does an adverb do? It describes the manner in which the verb is being done. It's giving us some more information. That's what an adverb does. So if I were to take this word here, the focus of our discussion today, meglio, what does meglio mean? Meglio means better. Better. So I'm going to say means better. That's what meglio means in English, okay? Not what an adverb means. An adverb does not mean better. So, meglio. How can I use it in this situation, right? Tu parli. I could say, tu parli l'italiano. You speak Italian. Meglio. How is it that you speak Italian? You speak it meglio. You speak it better. Meglio di me. So, this means you speak Italian better than me. Cool. And we're also doing a little comparison here, right? This is good, learning comparatives. So tu parli meglio di me. You speak Italian better than me. Okay? Because what meglio is doing here is it's technically modifying the verb. What is it better? So what is better if we're asking us this question? So you speak what? You speak Italian. That's the object of the sentence. Cool. That's the direct object. You speak what? Okay, you speak Italian, and then what is better? So better on its own, what purpose is it serving? It's simply serving the purpose of giving us more information of how is it that you speak Italian. you speak it better. So it has something to do with the verb. All right? That is what an adverb does. Now, let's look instead at migliore. Okay. Because migliore can also mean better. Can also mean that. There are also times in which it means best, which we will, of course, look at. But migliore is an adjective. Okay. So what is an adjective? This word might be a little bit easier to remember. It's one that we use, I'd say, in everyday conversation, right? Like, oh, what a nice adjective that is. Okay. Do you have any good adjectives for describing? You know, we kind of put it together in the same sentence. An adjective is a descriptive word. So an adjective describes a noun. So it gives us a description of a person, place, thing, or idea. Cool. So how could that work in these contexts? Okay. I could say very simply, say il migliore, that's for the best. So here's an example of best, which we will come back to. You're the best. So if we want to describe a noun, let's say, for example, Roma, there we go, è migliore. Let's pick a make-believe city because I don't want to offend any lovers of different Italian cities or anyone else. So anyway, Roma è migliore di Weilà Land. Roma è migliore di Weilà Land. Sorry, I got to put a D there. Okay. Roma è migliore di Weilà Land. Okay. Rome is better than Weilà Land. Okay. Cool. So, migliore is being used as an adjective. It is describing not a verb, but a noun. All right? Roma is a noun. So Rome is what? Rome is migliore. Rome is migliore. Rome is better. So that right there, my friends, is a simple difference between meglio and migliore. We touched on il migliore, which is the best, right here, and now we're going to talk about that. So when you want to say best, you take migliore and you do the following. You put a definite article in front of it. Il migliore, la migliore, and then obviously we have the female and, where's the eraser? The female and male plural versions as well. We can say I migliori, and le migliori, sorry. Cool, because an e changes to an I when it's plural. I changes to an I. So, just like I had before, we can say, sei il migliore, which means you're the best. Cool. I could say, Roma è la migliore, which means Rome is the best. Now, there is something that you will see us do very often with migliore. We will actually cut off the I and turn it into miglior when we have something after it such as tu sei il mio miglior amico. You are my best friend. Tu sei il mio miglior amico. Simply because if we said tu sei il mio migliore amico, it's two vowels next to each other, can sound a little clunky. Still sounds nice, but it sounds better to say tu sei il mio miglior amico. We see this happen quite a lot. For example, in other parts of Italian, you will say Professor Tom, right? Professor Tom, instead of professore. So instead of Signore Tom, you'll say Signor Tom. So Professor Tom, Signor Tom. And then we have tu sei il mio miglior amico. So we cut off that final E. So that is something you can also sing. So cool. So basically, if we were to recap, because this is essentially the difference here. So if we were to recap, we have meglio can mean better, and it does mean better, when you're using an adverb. So when you're describing how a verb is done. You could say, parli l'italiano meglio di tutti. Let's say that. Better than everybody. You speak Italian better than everybody. Because meglio is describing how you speak. If instead we want to say migliore, this is what we call an adjective. And this describes a noun. So nothing with a verb. I could say, for example, to say better, l'Italia è migliore della Weilà land. All right? So Italy is better than Weilà land. Here, migliore means better because it is describing a noun. And there you have it. Not bad, right, guys? Not bad. This is probably the quickest lesson in the Zero to Hero Italian grammar series. Maybe we have hit a record. That is pretty awesome. And it's probably so fast and concise because I just taught this today. So, yeah. For more lessons like this, be sure to subscribe, check out all the videos in the Zero to Hero Italian Grammar series, check out all the videos on my channel. I've been at this since 2011, so I've got tons of content there for you to enjoy. And also, you can feel free to join us in our live weekly group lessons. There we go. On Zoom, you can have more info by checking out the link in the top line of the description. Great. So that's going to be it from us today, guys. Always remember to spread the love, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Ciao, ciao.